All right, good afternoon. This is Kai Smith, your certified trichologist, and I am here to talk to you about relaxer and if it causes hair loss. So, how many of you guys have said in your lifetime that you no longer want to get relaxers because you think it causes hair loss or it made your hair fall out? And so, do relaxers actually cause hair loss? I just kind of want to go over that for a moment. But just in case this is your first time on with me, I want to introduce myself. I am Kai Smith. I have been in the beauty industry for 25 years. I am also a certified trichologist with the World Trichology Society, and I have a passion for helping women restore their hair and uncover the unknown factors about their hair loss. I'm very passionate about educating hairstylists as well as the clients about healthy hair and hair loss. I get a lot of conversation in the salon, or I hear a lot of things being said out there that they think that relaxers cause hair loss. And I just kind of want to go over that. So what is the primary purpose of relaxer? The primary purpose of relaxer is to straighten coily, curly, or wavy hair permanently. This is a situation, a chemical process that takes place in what is known as the cortex layer of the hair, because we have three layers of the hair. We have the cuticle, the outermost layer. We have the cortex, the innermost layer, and some of us have a medulla. Not everyone has a medulla. Those with finer hair may not have a medulla, okay? And so, basically, the cortex of the hair is where everything is housed. That's where the composition of the hair is housed. That's where your actual melanin is housed, meaning the color of your hair, and all sorts of other things that dictate everything about the hair is housed in the cortex layer of the hair. And so this is where all of the chemical processes take place, is within the cortex. So when we get relaxers, it is permanently rearranging the bonds. Permanently, operative word, permanently rearranging the bonds of the hair, meaning the hair that was once curly, coily, or wavy, you now want that hair to be straight. So you have now taken a chemical with hydroxide in it, and you have permanently rearranged the disulfide bonds of the hair. And now you have turned those disulfide bonds into lanthionine bonds. And so that is a permanent process. This is what a relaxer does. The primary purpose of a relaxer is to go in and take curly, wavy, coily hair and turn it into straight permanently. No matter what, it's going to turn it straight. Okay? It doesn't know not to get it too straight. It doesn't know to get it semi-straight. If you leave that thing on there, it is going to get the hair bone straight. That is what it is designed to do. And so with that permanent process taking place, you have different types of hydroxides. You have sodium hydroxide, you have, which is the more common, you have lithium, potassium, guanidine, and calcium hydroxides. Those hydroxides are more so, they're buffered down, so they're milder versions of hydroxides, which would be like a no-lye. Those, the latter ones that I described to you, are typically the ones that you will find at your at-home do-it-yourself kits, because they're buffered down hydroxides. And so with that said, when you start looking at the different types of hydroxides that are on the market, you really need to know what you're doing. You really should be a professional when you're performing these types of services, especially when you're permanently rearranging bonds of your hair. Now, what is the pH, the potential hydrogen of a relaxer? It can range depending on the type of relaxer, meaning if it's mild, if it's super or regular, or if it's sodium, lithium, potassium, guanidine, or calcium hydroxide, the pH balance of it can differ, and it can range anywhere from 9 to 14 on the pH scale. And so where does the hair, to be healthy, what is a healthy pH balance for your hair? Healthy pH balance ranges anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5 on the potential hydrogen scale, the pH scale. Okay, anything not in that range is going to typically have your hair feeling dry or unhealthy. It's not manageable. It's not doing something right. And so if you are relaxing your hair and you're not rinsing that relaxer off properly, you're not bringing the pH balance back down because you don't have a neutralizing shampoo, you have maybe a clarifying shampoo or another moisturizing shampoo that doesn't have an acidic pH balance to bring that hair back down to 4.5 to 5.5 after bringing the hair up to anywhere between a 9 to a 14 on the pH scale. You got to bring that hair back down to 4.5 to 5.5. And if you can't do that with the shampoo because you don't know what kind of shampoo to use, you're doing harm to your hair and you're going to leave that cuticle wide open, which is compromising the integrity of the hair because you didn't bring the pH balance back down to a place where it lives in a healthy state and where it can be proper moisture and protein balance so that it can be shiny, the cuticle is closed, and it can be strong and healthy. How frequently should you relax hair? And this is very key. This is very important because I hear so many people, I get clients that come into the salon or they call in and say, it's time for me to get a relaxer. Well, how much new growth do you have? Well, I don't know. It's been 6 weeks since I've had a relaxer. Well, I'm sorry, but time does not dictate. The lapse in time from relaxer to relaxer does not dictate you having a relaxer. What dictates, because remember, when I first started this broadcast, I said to you guys, a relaxer is a chemical process that is permanently rearranging curly, coily, wavy hair to straight. Permanent is the operative word. So if your hair has permanently been rearranged to be straight in a straight state, then why in the world would you need to relax it again before you get any new growth or before you get enough new growth? You wouldn't. It's a psychological thing because it's been a lot of time you feel like you need to relax your hair before the new growth really warrants a relaxer. And so you should only be relaxing the hair based on the new growth. An average head of hair will grow about a half an inch a month. Approximately a half an inch. That's the average head of hair. The average head of hair will grow approximately a half an inch a month. And so, with that said, I don't want to relax just a half an inch of hair. That's not a lot of hair because that leaves a lot of room for a mistake, meaning that leaves room for me to overlap that relaxer. And if I've already gotten the hair straightened that I previously relaxed, I don't want to put more chemical on top of that previously straightened hair. I don't want to do that. I only want to relax the virgin hair, the hair that has not been straightened previously, because I want it to match the hair that has been previously straightened. So you only want to relax hair when new growth dictates, meaning you should at least be waiting. If you grow average head of hair, approximately a half an inch a month, you should at least have about an inch of new growth before you go in to relax your hair. So if you're average, maybe, just maybe, that might say 8 weeks. Some people, their hair does not grow on average. So my rule of thumb is to look at the new growth before I determine whether I'm going to do a relaxer on any client. Every client gets a relaxer at a different point. If I relax your hair today and my hair today, and we look 8 weeks from now at both of our heads, one of us is probably going to have more new growth than the other. And so 8 weeks from now, if I grow head on the average of a half an inch a month, then I might need a relaxer in 8 weeks. But maybe your hair growth is not so average. So maybe you don't have enough new growth to dictate a relaxer. So you cannot relax hair based on time lapse between relaxer to relaxer. You have to do it based on the amount of new growth on the scalp at the time that the hair is relaxed. Okay? And so how straight should a relaxer get? How straight should you allow the relaxer to get when you're performing a relaxer service? Well, you don't want the hair to be bone straight. I get so many clients that psychologically want that hair bone straight. And a relaxer is not designed to be bone straight. A relaxer is designed to provide manageability for the hair, to straighten the hair a little bit from its natural state for manageability. It's not designed to be bone straight. When you relax the hair bone straight, you lose elasticity, the ability for the hair to stretch and return back to its normal position. If the hair starts losing elasticity, then you compromise the hair fibers and the integrity of the hair becomes compromised and weaker. When the hair becomes weakened, then that hair easily breaks off. And then who should perform a relaxer service? Shame on you if you're on here, if you are a professional, or if you're a client, if you're relaxing your own hair. I do not perform any chemical service on my hair. I will say again, I do not perform any chemical service on my own hair, and I'm a professional of 25 years. Why? Because I cannot see the back of my head. I cannot possibly manipulate my hair fast enough to get that chemical on there for processing time in the back without overlapping and in a timely manner. I can't see the back of my head. That means I'm going to overlap. I'm compromising the integrity of my hair. If I'm preaching hair care, why would I do a relaxer or a color treatment on myself? So I don't suggest for myself to do it, and I definitely don't recommend the novice, non-professional to be at home with the DIY kits doing relaxers themselves. Okay? And so a professional should always apply the relaxer no matter what. Professionals apply relaxers to other professionals, and professionals apply relaxer to the client. Okay? That is always rule of thumb when you're dealing with chemicals that have a time span that they're supposed to be on the head without compromising the integrity of the hair. Okay, let's see. I'm going down the list to my next question. I got all these questions and I didn't want to forget you guys. The time frame that a relaxer should be on, suggested time frame is 20 to 25 minutes depending on the texture of hair. 20 to 25 minutes depending on the texture of hair. Thank you for sharing, Candace. 20 to 25 minutes, and that's based on the type of relaxer that you've chosen for your client and the strength of the relaxer that you've chosen, and the desired curl pattern that you want to see. 20 to 25 minutes is the max. So what maintenance is required for relaxer? Relaxer hydroxide requires moisture. Hydroxide requires moisture, and especially if you have one of those buffered down relaxers, the lithium, the potassium, the guanidine, or the calcium hydroxide, they leave calcium deposits on the hair. Those do-it-yourself kits, those are all buffered down. So they tend to make the hair much more drier. They look dull. They look lifeless. I can always tell when it's not a sodium hydroxide relaxer used on the hair. And the reason why someone may tend to use a lithium or calcium, potassium, guanidine hydroxide is because maybe the client has more sensitive scalp and they want to buffer it down so that it doesn't irritate the scalp. And I must add, y'all better be relaxing these clients' hair, these hairstylists that's on here. Y'all better be putting that protective base coat on the scalp. I don't care if it's a lie or no lie relaxer. You better be basing these clients' scalp. This is what the protective layer is. It's helping you in your processing time so that you can get that relaxer on there. So you want to make sure you put that protective layer on top of the client's hair. And clients, if you're sitting in a stylist chair and they skip over the base process, get up and run. Get up and run. If a stylist is doing a relaxer service on you and they've relaxed only your hairline, but they're about to put a relaxer on your whole head, fire them. I'm going to say it one more time. Fire them. That is your protective layer. That is the protective layer on your scalp to allow that processing time so that chemical does not burn your scalp. Okay? Make sure they're basing. Processing time, 20 to 25 minutes, depending on the desired curl pattern that you're looking for, and then also depending on the strength and all of that stuff, okay? And that's based on each client. You have to make sure you're using things on the client based on the integrity, the condition of their hair, and the type of hair that they have, okay? And that is chemical to shampoo and to maintenance products. Make sure you're using it based on the type of hair that client has. And so, is everyone a candidate for a relaxer? No, everybody isn't a candidate for a relaxer. You base that on the integrity of their hair, because I have some people that their hair is so fragile that they just can't take a relaxer. I have some people that have naturally dry hair that they just can't take a relaxer. The hydroxide will dry their hair too much. So you have to determine what's best for the client. Those clients that are not candidates for relaxer, I tend to do a smoothing treatment on them to get the curl pattern to a manageable place so that they can manage their hair texture. And that's on a case-by-case situation. But you have options out there, and you have to know how to use them based on the client, and you have to know how to make that client look good based on what they're working with. That's our job as a professional. And so my conclusion is, do relaxers cause your hair to fall out? Nope. Relaxers don't cause your hair to fall out. So y'all quit saying that. Those of you who are out there that said the relaxer makes your hair fall out, the relaxer don't make your hair fall out. The user makes the hair fall out. It's how you're using it. You have to know how to apply that relaxer. You have to know what you're doing with that chemical. You have to know what type of hair can withstand a relaxer. As I said, everybody is not a candidate. And so for those of you who take matters into your own hands and you're doing something at home yourself, and you're going and you're scanning the shelves and the beauty supply and you're picking up something because it says no lye, that's a lie. What do you think the active ingredient is? Even if they have some ionic compounds in it, it's still going to change and rearrange the bonds of your natural hair, taking it from curly to straight. And so don't believe the hype. The percentage of lye in those no lyes are so small that the government allows them to say that it's no lye in these relaxers. So you need to get into the hands of a professional, one who has a license, one who advocates for hair care, before you start providing chemical services to yourself. You should never provide a chemical service at your own hands or at the hands of a non-professional. It should always be done by a professional. So my last thing that I'm going to leave you with is, relaxers do not cause hair to fall. The user makes the hair fall because they're not using it properly. They don't know how to use it, or they may not be a candidate for it. So you can't walk into, if you're a firefighter, you can't walk into a fire without proper protection. Or as a firefighter, you know when to stand down and when not to go into that fire because you've been trained to do so. So as a professional, as an educated stylist who advocates for hair care and hair loss, when you come to me, if you're not a candidate and I know it's going to make your hair flammable, I'm going to stand down and I'm going to give you the accurate information for the condition of your hair and for your hair type. And I'm going to say, but you're a candidate for a smoothing treatment though, but you're not a candidate for a relaxer. I wouldn't do a relaxer on your hair, and this is why. So relaxers do not make the hair fall out. The user makes the hair fall out because they're using it improperly or on the wrong person's head. Okay? So I hope that I left you guys with some hair talk for thought, so that when you begin to take matters into your own hands, Kai is on your conscience and you stop and heed to my advice. And if you are a professional that found valuable content in what I had to deliver, I thank you for joining, and I hope that you implement this information behind the chair. Until we meet again, you guys be good to yourself, because I'm going to surely be good to myself. I love you guys, and you guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Bye-bye.